In the new Showtime series Penny Dreadful, literature's most iconic monsters come together to weave an original tale of horror. Ooh. Take a look.
This is the individual.
Yes.
Did you bring your weapons?
One minute. What are we doing here?
We're looking for someone. More than that, you don't need to know. Do not be amazed at anything you see, and don't hesitate.
Very suspenseful. I
Here
know.
to tell us more about the terrifying new series and the sinister character he plays is actor Danny Sapani. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you
welcome.
for having me. My first American interview.
Really?
So, yeah,
Oh,
I'm very
well, welcome.
honored to be here.
We're
and
excited to
thank
have you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So tell us more about Penny Dreadful. It's being described as a psychosexual drama.
Right. Yeah.
How would you describe it?
Well, I would say I would probably substitute drama for thriller, because I think although there is a very dramatic element to it in terms of the characters and how rich those relationships are between them, I like the word thriller over horror, because I think horror has a certain connotation with it that I think this show exceeds.
Yeah, 'cause horror is more overt, and thriller
Yes.
is a little more sinister. A
Exactly.
little more subtle,
And subtle.
but equally as terrifying.
Absolutely, absolutely. Expect to see something that really draws you in and grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go.
I like it already. Now talk to us about your character. You play an African man in Victorian times. Tell us more.
I do. I play a character called Sapani, who is Sir Malcolm, played by Timothy Dalton's friend and confidant, and he also works for him. There's not much I can say, but I can tell you that he and Sir Malcolm have been through the wars together. They are close through the experiences that they've had, and it's a very deep bond. You know, Sapani doesn't say a lot. And that was probably one of the reasons why I was really drawn to him. It's an opportunity to say a lot without saying that much, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
To draw people into the mystery of the piece.
And isn't that more difficult sometimes, just
I
having
think
to
so.
use your face or your mannerisms
That's right,
to evoke emotion?
And absolutely, and it's, you know, film, I've worked a lot in the theatre, and my film experience or TV experience, you know, is less than my theatre experience. And what you notice when you're on screen is that the smallest movement can, you know, magnify so much. So you really have to be really, really careful and specific about what you communicate.
Yeah.
So since you don't talk that much, what was your audition like? Did you just have to be mysterious? Just use those facial expressions?
Probably the longest scene I have in the first series was my audition scene, and I don't know. I really took to it. It just spoke to me. There was something about somebody who doesn't speak because he doesn't have to. I was really drawn to that.
Now, your character has elaborate tribal markings on his face.
right.
So what's makeup like for you? How long are you in the chair?
An hour and a half.
And-
That was after a few months of practice.
Goodness. What's that like? Uncomfortable? Are you used to it now?
Yeah, the two people I have, you know, Enzo Mastrantonio and Claire Lamb, who do the makeup, are just fantastic, and we have such an amazing relationship now. So, you know we're going to see each other in the morning, and I tend to go to sleep actually while they kind of, you know,
Really?
do their
Do you
things.
ever leave set with the markings on your face?
No.
Okay.
He's like, I'm going home.
You should
later,
just to
everyone.
see what the reaction on the streets would be like.
Well, it's quite interesting. Whenever we've done our outdoor scenes, that's been quite interesting because you see people sort of, you know, react. And sometimes people on our set don't know whether, certainly in the beginning, they didn't know whether they were real, whether this was just my, you know, he's an actor who has facial scarring. Okay,
That
fine.
would've been
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I got
yeah.
that
So-
question a lot after I went to the premiere the other night and interviewed you. People are like,
Right.
are those real scars? I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's just makeup. It's
Yeah,
makeup.
yeah.
But you also star alongside some great actors. Josh Hartnett's in this,
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton,
That's
Eva
right.
Green. What's the energy like on set?
It's amazing. I mean, it's such. What's brilliant about it is that these characters are all meeting, to go on a quest, if you like, and so that sort of is reflected in the way that we are meeting to begin this great journey together. So there's a real sort of warmth. There's a real family atmosphere, and John and Showtime have put together a great list of directors and technicians who all are at the top of their game. And so it extends beyond the cast, it goes right round the whole studio. There's this sense
true.
of a great family.
And all of the historical monsters appear in one show.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Dracula,
Well,
Frankenstein, Dorian Gray.
You're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, I think John was inspired by the classics and the Gothic dramas of the Victorian age, and I think it's a massive thing to try and do to pull off. Because you're constantly asking, what if? What if these characters? How do they interact? But the themes are all the same. I mean, it's really interesting to know that Frankenstein, Dracula, these were all written within a 10-year period. So there was a real fascination at that time for these types of stories. The supernatural, it was a real fascination for the Victorians, and so. I think there's a lot of scope to explore these themes.
So who's your favorite monster? And were you a fan growing up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like all kinds of supernatural stories because I think what they tell us about ourselves is always really interesting because I think what all we're doing is we're sort of magnifying the idea of what people do naturally, which is in extreme situations, we find incredible depths and abilities in our own characters and personalities to overcome huge odds. And so I think that, I was a big fan of Spider-Man, and, I used to run around, as is my son, and there's just some characters, there's some superheroes or super villains that just live on throughout time, and there's a good reason for that. And I think probably Frankenstein, because he's just such an intelligent person.
A lot of those these superhero, supervillain tales focus on the idea of the outsider.
That's right.
Is that one of the reasons that you felt like you could connect to the characters well?
I think so, yeah. I think, it's a given that an African man, an authentic, I suppose that's someone that hasn't had the sort of, the brutality of the slave trade affect him, is a given that he will be an outsider in this environment. His first language is Lingala. It's not English. He displays his Africanness in a way because he's obviously has a relationship with his friend and employer that enables him to be able to do that. So I do think that the alienation effect is very clear with Sembene, and with other characters. I mean, it's the central theme of all horror, is what sets us apart from the rest of society.
And you actually hail from Ghana.
That's right.
Okay, and you grew up in the UK?
I grew up in London. Yeah, I was the first.
And you were on the stage by the age of 7?
No, I was actually working. Well. Stage at school.
Stage at
school,
counts.
Yeah, that counts. All right, fine. Okay.
What was the play?
Well, it was actually a devised piece. We did the Phantom Toll Booth, so I had a really inspiring drama teacher, Miss Hyams, who, if you're out there, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for leading me to this because you know, I was a very troubled child, and she you know, somehow picked me out and said, you know, you're very good at this. You know,
Why were you troubled?
I don't know. I think it was 1970. God, I have no idea. I suppose I had all sorts of issues. Maybe I was finding it hard to find my voice, and through drama I was able to do that. So I played the terrible discord in the Phantom Toll Booth, which is you know, crash bang, lots of cymbals, blah blah blah, which was great for a 7-year-old boy.
Love that, right?
And yeah, I suppose I've been making a lot of noise since then. I'm trying to, at least.
Well, after being very dreadful in this show, what's next for you?
Well, I'm about to do another stage piece. I'm working with Helen McCrory on the National Stage in London, National Theatre stage. We're doing a production of Medea, the Greek tragedy by Euripides, and I am playing Jason. And it's a fantastic cast and a fantastic new director, Carrie Cracknell, who's directing. I'm doing a Wole Soyinka play on the radio as well, on BBC Radio.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
When
we're
does
doing
that start?
Death and the King's Horseman. We're recording it next week, in fact, so it will go out pretty soon. Do you get BBC4 around here?
Absolutely,
Well,
yes.
listen out for it.
We
yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? That's incredible.
Well, congratulations. And until then, we'll make sure we check you out on Penny Dreadful. It premieres this Sunday, 10 p.m. on Showtime.
Correct.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a
That was
pleasure.
great. First interview in the States. That was good.
It's you guys. I felt like I was talking to my best friends.
Well, you
are.
And
Well
you're
done.
watching Arise Entertainment 360.